What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and as we do every single Sunday, today we're going to be looking at the biggest movers and shakers on the TCG Player website. And this isn't my data, this isn't my formulations or anything like that. This is information coming directly from TCG Player. They're raising their hands and they are saying, listen, all of you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there, you need to be paying attention to these cards because they are making big moves on our website. And anytime a website with the type of velocity like TCG Player, one of the biggest buying and selling platforms for Pokemon cards, raises their hand and sends this information out to us, I think it's incredibly valuable because it lets us see what is going on at the macro level of the hobby. And this list traditionally has a lot of variety to it. This list traditionally has a lot of really cool cards on it. But I am going to tell you, first and foremost, out of all of the lists that we have done, I think this week stands out for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, there's a bunch of stud cards on this list, a lot of high dollar, real chase cards on this list, which is really exciting. And I love it when the hobby is going after big dollar cards, right? Remember, this is TCG Player saying that these cards are moving with high velocity on their website right now. And when a lot of people are buying high dollar cards, I get incredibly excited about it because it lets me know that the hobby's getting really excited and it's really frothy and a lot of people are spending big cash on Pokemon cards. And the other thing I'm excited about is a lot of the cards on this list we have talked about ad nauseum on this channel. We have identified even 3-4 months ago, hey, these cards are primed for a breakout. These cards might perform well in the future. And it doesn't mean that they're going to hold on to the gains that we're going to see today, but it is awesome to see some of these thoughts and feelings. And you know, we do tons of data analysis and tracking on this channel. And so when you see some of it start to, come to fruition, start to show some signs of life, that's really exciting. So with all of that out of the way, listen, we do this video every single Sunday. As I just alluded to, we do tons of data dives and trend analysis on this channel. So if that kind of stuff gets you excited, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. And if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I got a small channel. We do a ton of work. Any of those three small things go a long way in helping me out, and I really appreciate it. So the first cards we're going to look at on the list are actually one card that we talked about on the last Movers and Shakers list, right? The Bubble Mew from Paldean Fates. This card has gone absolutely crazy, popping up to $171. Now, one of the things that we talked about when we highlighted this card last week on the Movers and Shakers list was the fact that this card plus the Charizard is what makes that set so special, right? You have two cards that are over $100. We had talked about how the Charizard wasn't really gaining a lot, but it was just staying flat. Like, it was north of $100. Every time it tried to get down below that $100 mark, it popped back up. And I had started to say, hey, listen, it's really exciting when you have a set, a specialty set especially, where you have two cards that are over the $100 mark. And then lo and behold, this week, when I pull up the information for this list, what is one of the cards that's on the Movers and Shakers list this week? It is the Charizard from Paldean Fates, and it is absolutely popped off, up 28% over the last month, with most of that gain coming over the last week. And again, you look, this card had been right in the $100 range. I mean, definitely below the $110 mark for over the last month and really for most of the year. And now all of a sudden it's starting to break out. Do not sleep on Paldean Fates Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes. That will be the rarest sealed product for this. It is sold out on the Pokemon Center. Last I saw, it was selling a little bit over MSRP, right in the $80 range. I don't think it's got 151 vibes to it, right? 151 Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes are like $220 now. So I don't think Paldean Fates Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs are going to quite reach that height right now. Who knows in the future, but I do think that those are going to be really good long-term investments, especially if these two chase cards continue to do well. Plus, you got all the baby shinies in there. It just checks every box for me. So I'm a very happy holder of that. And I do think it's got even more room to run, even at the current market prices. So the next one is another card that was on last week's, but there's play into this week as well. So last week we had talked about the Gutina from Lost Origin. We had identified a little while ago about how Sword and Shield alt arts had popped up and they were coming back down, and this Giratina had found a ton of support right at the $325 mark, which made it a prime candidate to break out. And it did. It actually broke out significantly, right? It was up a good amount of money. You look at it, went from $325 all the way to $365, so a $40 jump. But then this week on this Movers and Shakers list, we see another Giratina card from another Sword and Shield set also breaking out, and that is this one from Crown Zenith. This card is back over $100. And if you remember the 3 gold cards, right? You got the Giratina, the Dialga, and the Arceus, right? Those 3 cards were the big chase cards there. And you also got that awesome Mewtwo card, which is up there as well. But this card back over $100 is really interesting, and I think it's a very good sign. Crown Zenith is an awesome set. Like, I do have some concerns about how much it's been printed. I think that Crown Zenith just continues to see more products rolling out, but the cards are awesome. Giratina obviously has a lot of momentum behind it, and again, another big spike for another Giratina card from the Sword and Shield era, so I was really excited to see this one pop off. Now, the next one, another card that we have talked about a ton on this channel, is this Gengar and Mimikyu tag team card from the Team Up set. And obviously, Team Up is a rare set, which goes for a huge premium. I mean, booster boxes are like $2,400. Last I saw, Elite Trainer boxes were like $750. You got the Lovebirds card. Like, there's a lot to love about Team Up. And this Gengar and Mimikyu card has popped up. It's been up about 11% over the last month. But that's not the whole story. We have talked about this card a lot in the past, and one of the things we've talked about is the popularity of Gengar, the rarity of Team Up, and the value that we find in Team Up, and especially these awesome sets that come like Evolving Skies, Team Up, right? Like, those are the big sets of those particular eras. But the thing that we really called out was how this card has moved over the last year, right? You see that this card was pretty much in the $30 range when we first started off. It was organically and slowly, and what I would say is healthily working its way back up to the $50 point. And then it had an irrational spike, right? You see that light blue line popped up. There was some kind of buyout. It went up, and then it started to work its way back down. But in the beginning of September, it started to find support again right in the $50 range. And we said, hey, listen, this is for everything I just said, Gengar's popular, it's from the Team Up set, it's a tag team card. Like, for all of those reasons, at a $50 mark, we think this card has the opportunity to maybe outperform in the future. And again, it's just another one where we've seen some really strong returns. And it's hard to beat this card. Again, this is a special card from a special set, so it was really exciting to see it on this list and to pop up the way it has over the last couple weeks. The next card on this one is another one that we have been talking about, right? Obviously, the Groudon card right here, and we've said this, okay, so you had the Groudon and you had the Roaring Moon, right? Those were the #1 and #2 cards in this set, and I love Roaring Moon. Like, the card is awesome. Roaring Moon is super playable, but we have said that, listen, we thought that the Groudon card was eventually going to overtake Roaring Moon as the #1 chase card in this set, and look is what has happened. It actually has done that. It's up by about $12. Last I checked, that Roaring Moon was down at about the $50 range, and it's actually been coming down quite substantially over the last 6 months. So this is the new chase card. I think this card from an artwork perspective is superior. Obviously, this is a much older Pokemon, right? I think this is from one of the earlier generations. And so when you compare that to Roaring Moon, I think there's just going to be a bigger fan base. The artwork is fire. So not surprised to see this one jump up. But it is really interesting to see a 24% price jump over the last month. That is a huge jump in price in a very short amount of time. So lots of people are loving this card, and I do think that this will be the chase card far into the future for this set. And then the final card we're going to talk about is another one that, my gosh, I felt this card has been undervalued for so long. This card, I remember buying multiple copies of this when it was in the $40 range. I have 3 PSA 10s of this because I know Obsidian Flames wasn't like the best set ever, but when you think about it, Obsidian Flames has really low gem rates, right? And this card was one of those as well. Really low gem rates. I think it has like a 26% gem rate. So when you were buying this in the $40 range, having the opportunity to send some in. I have 3 PSA 10s now, right? So I've got multiple PSA 10 copies of this because I was picking up multiple in the $40 price range. And now the PSA 10s, they were going for about, I don't know, $200, and I think they're over $300 now. So when you think about this, you got Charizard. The artwork is really awesome, right? And you've got a card that had a relatively low gem rate, actually a very low gem rate compared to most of the peers, especially compared to cards from Sword and Shield. There was just a lot of intangibles that said this card has the opportunity to do really well in the long run, and now it's up at $56. Again, these are, I mean, these Scarlet and Violet cards, who knows if they're going to be able to retain these values? Who knows what they're going to be worth in the long run? But when you have all of these intangible factors, Charizard, one of the most popular Pokemon that comes out there, you know, the artwork on this is really awesome. You got the fact that it has an incredibly low gem rate. Like, all of those just kind of check the boxes to make me think that this card does have some opportunity, you know, for some strong long-term return. So we'll have to see. It could just be a momentary spike. It could come crashing back down. What do I know? But Obsidian Flames is starting to get up there in age, and it is really interesting to see this card finally start to get a lot of love from the market. So that's it. Those are the movers and shakers cards that are on the list this week, and if you can't tell, I'm incredibly excited. I think there's some awesome cards on the list. I think that there's some really awesome opportunity out there, and I do think that there's some really good momentum going on in the hobby. So if you made it to the end of the video and you thought this was cool, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. And if you got questions or comments, drop them down below. I appreciate you more than I can say. I hope you have an epic one, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.